Hey, welcome to Scott Talks. I am talking with Ann Batchelder. She's an author, a mom, a speaker. I take it. I take you meet with people and talk about this subject matter a bit. And
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine you've had quite an impact on people. Her book Craving Spring is about a journey with her daughter from the early signs of depression through an addiction. How much? What's the time span of the book? If I might, I haven't actually read the book, so like,
Okay.
yeah. How much time is actually represented in the start to the finish of the book?
The majority of it happens within like a couple of years.
Okay.
So from about the time she's 15 until she gets through or is in the middle of college. And then there's a little bit of a gap where she goes off and walks the Appalachian Trail for 3 months
Oh, cool.
and then comes back for a little bit. And then she moves to California.
It sounds like my journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've actually. I think the thing you guys said early in the interview is that the book Stash kind of brought you and Laura together in a curiosity capacity, and I couldn't help but think of my own journey when I heard you talking about you and your daughter and my poor parents. They were, probably, a couple of decades before you. And I mean, I
Hmm.
went to my first rehab when I was 13
Wow.
because of legal issues. And the legal
Right.
issues basically, I'd stole a car at 13 and I'd stolen quite a few cars at that time, but I got caught for this one.
Uh-huh.
And, I think one of the interesting things that I hear about, and Laura and I have been talking about this a lot lately, is just the progression of mental illness and addiction even in the last 15 years. The context which people are able to talk about it. Young people seeking therapy. I have a 19-year-old daughter who started her own therapy at 16, and everybody on her side, on the other side of the family, followed suit. So here was a young adult who felt the need to take care of her enough that she put everybody's opinions aside and stepped in line to get better, and everybody stepped behind her. And that was not my story. I mean, I literally was burning it. you know your book and the story that you tell sounds like it is a story of staying connected but allowing somebody the dignity of their own journey. And you and Laura talked so lovely about how difficult that journey can be. And have you, is that primary, like, so you get to speak with a lot of parents about this particular journey? You get people coming to you asking you questions, and I'm sure the big question is, how do I fix it right now? Would that be?
Yeah, it's painful for me because I know how terrifying it can be for a parent to be in that situation, and I know the immediacy of wanting it to be all better. And I also, I mean, to be honest with you, I'm lucky, very, very lucky that my daughter wanted to get well, that she worked at it very hard, and that she got to the other side. So I understand that that doesn't always happen. So
Yeah.
I think the most important thing, though, is to recognize that we are all on a spectrum of addiction. We are all wanting. We all have a hunger in our soul that I think can be best addressed by compassion and by supporting each other and by recognizing that we are all trying to get to the same place. And I think that the more people can read books like Stash or read books like mine and recognize that a little compassion is going to go a long way to healing the problems that we have, especially in our culture right now, with so many kids with depression and addiction and anxiety. That I think one of the things that isn't being addressed is the parents who are also going through their kids' stuff with all of that also need compassion and also need support, and that it's not easily addressed
Yeah, I'm sure.
by anyone.
I I
Yeah.
I don't even know if I'm sure. I'm absolutely positive because I meet people every day, and it does seem like a complex issue, and it does seem like kids are more and more affected. Um, I was blown away by the fact that your daughter came to you and told you where she was that day. I mean, blown away. Um, and there must have been a level of trust built between you guys before that allowed
There
that to
was.
happen. Yeah. Um,
There was, and that's the thing that was so surprising and so upsetting to me, was that we were very close, and we did have an openness, and yet
mhm.
there was that um, pain, literal pain, physical, emotional, spiritual pain that she was trying to self-medicate about, and just couldn't do it on her own, and so she looked for in all the wrong places to get help
Yeah.
for that.
Um, I just, you know, as I've raised two young girls, and um, I learned at an early age. I remember teaching my oldest daughter how to swim, and I was being very masculine about it. And I would like throw her out into the water and throw her towards
Yeah.
the edge of the pool and be like, she'll just start kicking. And one day she turned around and looked at me like I was the most evil person. She must have been about 5. And I realized in that moment that it didn't matter what I wanted for my daughter. If I
Hmm.
didn't let her find it herself, she would never trust the experience. And
Exactly.
and it was difficult to carry that in along the road as she grew up. And we grew up by coastal, so she was in another
Hmm.
town, and I had to watch her go through life without me there. But I did try to always leave the door open to say, hey, if you need anything, like, because I think as a kid, I never felt like I had a place to go if I had a big problem. I felt like
Hmm.
I had to internalize it and figure it out myself, because that's kind of what the world expected of me, or I felt like that's what the world expected of me. So I think that learning how to be that safe place for your kid, regardless of how scared you are, it's that tenuous place where you literally want to grab them and pick them up and not let them fall. But by letting them
Right.
fall, they're going to learn. So
Right.
I applaud you for finding space for that. And the other thing that really, on just the other side of that turn you took to start taking care of yourself so that you could take care of her when she needed you. I don't think many of us find that without a tremendous amount of pain and being uncomfortable, because I think we want to act externally, and it doesn't make a lot of sense to fix the inside if the outside's still all messed up. But
Yeah, I think what you were talking about at one point, when you were saying you didn't have, as a kid, you didn't know where you could turn, and that you felt like you had to internalize all of that, and
mm-hmm,
that there was something wrong with you, and you were too embarrassed to say something, or didn't know where the support, or if you would be accepted for that kind of what you saw as a failure. I think that's what parents are feeling.
right,
So I think that so again, it's a matter of trusting your kid, the essence of who that person is, as well as trusting yourself,
mm. What?
and being able to find the support you need. And I think it's easier now to do than it was
Yeah,
15, 20 years
easier,
ago,
but the world seems so much more
but still,
complicated.
it's still hard. It's still so hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is,
Right.
absolutely. I am excited to read the book, and I'm so glad that you took the time to explain this story. I think it's important, and I'm really glad that it has a happy ending as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. I hope we can
Thank you
make.
so much.
Yeah, I hope we can make it out to Asheville.
Oh, I'd love that.
Yeah, yeah,
That'd be great.
it's a beautiful place. It's been a long time since I've been there, but we need to get out there, honey, at some point. So
Well, thank you again. I really so much admire what both of you are doing with Stash, but with also this podcast. I
yeah,
think it's really, really special, and it's fun to watch the two of you work together. So,
thank you, Ann. Thanks for being on
yeah,
the show.
yeah. Thank you.